Hello and welcome to another video by myself, Chris, from Sorare on the Budget. I'm recording this just a couple of hours after the World Cup final. Quite a game from the two ambassadors for Sorare, certainly two of the biggest ones, Messi and Mbappe. It was quite a good game after the 80th minute. I thought it was dire until then, but however, you can't fault the next 10 minutes and then the extra time period, and obviously you've got the drama and lottery of the penalty shootout. So, yes, with that in the books, I guess we can get back to normal football now. And today I'm going to be taking a look at some goalkeepers, both limited and rare. The reason I'm doing that is obviously we're running up to the 30th of January when things are going to change. And for the thresholds, you are going to need a goalkeeper, a playing one. Now, whether you play with limited cards or rares, you're going to need one of those if you want to contest to try and get the 250 points. However, I want to show in this video that especially with limiteds, it doesn't have to break the bank to do so. I've actually got goalkeepers as cheap as, well, given the current ETH rate, roughly 17, 18 quid for a couple of them, 20 quid for some, and then at the other end, I've got everything is under 0.04, so you're talking under 40 quid for these goalkeepers. They're all starters, and I've got all their statistics here for us. I've got a variety of leagues, so I haven't just focused on Europe, so I've got some that are going to be Challenger Europe, I've got Challenger Europe, I've got I think, a couple of, there's a Champion America one in there, and there's also a couple of longer range ones where you might want to, take a look at for coming back kind of mid-February with likes of the Austrian lads and things like that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. These prices were correct as of, well, when the World Cup was just about finishing, and that is as of today, the 18th of December. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button below, and if you don't already know or haven't listened yet, myself and Russ, who is Scotland Sorare on Twitter, have our podcast, which is A View from the Dugouts. You search that on Spotify, Google, Apple, whatever, you'll find it there. And if you're new to Sorare altogether, and this video gives you the inspiration to actually kick on and actually start to build a team, you can join using my link. It's also in the description below, which is sorareonthebudget.com. You'll get your 10 free cards, which you can use in the common leagues. And then from there, you can then get a free limited card when you buy 5 from the market. So without further ado, let's get on to the players. So I'm going to have to kind of talk through quickly how I've rejigged things. The yellow prices at the top left here are limited prices. Shock. The red ones below are going to be the rare ones. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to light first and foremost, because I've tried to do it with the two prices in one. Now, the rare prices are obviously exponentially more expensive, but if you're going to want to play for the thresholds, you are going to need probably to have one of these. I don't think there's a probably in it. I think you need one of these. So first one is Fernando Martinez. He plays for Almeria in La Liga. So our first one's going to be a Challenger Europe, a Champion Europe card. His last 5 is 61. His last 15 is 48, which is probably the number you need to focus on, but you know it's a keeper in form at the moment. He has played 13 of 14 games this season. The one was he was rotated out in a midweek game. He's got 1 clean sheet and 13 goals conceded though. So basically he's really conceding at a rate of like just a goal a game. So that he's going to be earning some decent scores, and that's obviously reflective in those. Now, his price on the market, 0.029 has been his average sale price for limited, 0.035 for the lowest price on the market. So you're talking about 33 quid there. Now, looking at the rare market, it's obviously a lot more expensive, 0.485, so about 460, I think that is, 470. And the market price is significantly higher, as it tends to be, 0.559, so that's probably about 530. So you're going to want to either negotiate or you're going to want to look out for the auctions. So our next one, Oscar Wale. Now he is from CD Lugo, and they are in La Liga Smart Bank, so the second tier in Spain. Now obviously with the new cap threshold, it's not going to be restricted by what league you're going to be able to use, so that it gives you the opportunity to use any from anywhere. But these players might also be handy, if you are playing in second tier or what have you, in the second division leagues and things like that. So last 5 of 50, last 15 of last 5 of 58, last 15 of 50. average price in the market 0.034, and the market price has been 0.038. So again, you're talking about 35, 36 pounds as the market floor. For the rare, it's quite a lot more, 0.507. So again, you're talking about 480. Market price way higher. Again, as I say, you're going to want to keep an eye on auctions for some of these things. 0.65, 620 quid. I don't think anybody, when you look at what the recent sales are going to realistically pay as much as that, but you can obviously try and negotiate these things down. Next one, we're off to Turkey now, and it's Gunay Guvench. I'm going to butcher names, and any long-time viewers will know that. Average price on the or average sale price has been 0.034. Market price low was 0.04. So again, not too dissimilar. It's at the top end of what I was looking at, but again, that's only about 37, 38 pounds. Last 5 of 52 and the last 15 of 54. That's a really good price, I think, for a goalkeeper producing those kind of numbers. Average price on the market for the rares 0.6 basically. So you're looking at about what, 570, 580 for that. And the market price 0.67. So again, significant difference between those two numbers. But yep, he is at Gaziantep. Played all the games this season. He's got 2 clean sheets, 19 goals conceded, and he is their captain. I will quickly go back to Oscar Wally because I didn't point out his stats. He's played 20 of 21 games, 5 clean sheets, and 26 conceded. The Spanish Smart Bank has 24. I think it's got 42 games in their season, basically. So they're only just about halfway through. Now we're off to Italy now, Serie A. Luigi Seppi from Salernitana. He has played 15 games, 3 clean sheets, and 24 conceded in those games. Now, last 5 of 49, last 15 of 51, so pretty good scores again. 0.031 for his average and 0.032 for the market. So you're pretty much bang on both those numbers there. So you're looking roughly about 30 quid. Now, rare 0.545 and market 0.57. So again, obviously, I think on the whole, they're about 15 times, 16 times the price of the limited counterparts. But again, they're going to be critical if you're going to go for these thresholds. So it gives you an idea of things that you could build towards. Now moving into Scotland, we've got Ross Laidlaw of Ross County. Now he's got a bizarre one here on his price. His 3-day average is 0.041 and the market price is 0.035 now. Now the reason for that is purely the fact that at the weekend there was only 2 games available in Challenger Europe and one of them was Ross County. So if you had a playing goalkeeper from those leagues, you were probably winning a prize. So 0.035 is his price on the market. Maybe slightly higher than where it was, but it's a decent price for a goalkeeper ever present. 17 games this season, 4 clean sheets. He has conceded 28 goals. I think, if you can get that price down to about 30 quid in limited, you're probably quite happy with that. Average price on the rares, quite high, just under 0.6 for the average, and market 0.575. But again, it's a playing goalkeeper, playing every week, and his 15 and 5, you're looking at 48 for his last 5 and 47 for the last 15. So it fits nicely into the threshold average there. Moving on, we're into Belgium now. So I've tried to give a bit of variety as opposed to just being solely focused on a particular league. 0.036 for Valentin Kojukaru. Plays for Leuven in the Belgian league. 17 games this season out of 17. He's got 5 clean sheets and 26 goals conceded. Last 5 of 46 and the last 15 of 42. Now, you can see by the prices there, they're fairly in line for limited again. 0.036 has been average, lowest on the market, 0.037. But the rares, there's a 0.1 disparity in those. So again, you're going to want to negotiate that significantly, or you're going to want to wait until you can get through the auctions to pick one up. But again, I think, under 35 quid, his last 5 and 15 a little bit low. But again, if you've got some higher scoring outfield players, that might fit perfectly into your overall 240 points for the cap, which I think would be quite a neat fit. Moving on to a Sorare player, and is actually quite active in the game, Emiliano Viviano. If you look him up on Sorare, you will find it shows that he is an active player in the game. Now his price is 0.02 as an average, 0.022 on the market, so it's under 20 quid. Now he is 36, I want to say. However, we've seen goalkeepers playing to their 40s quite comfortably. But it's a very, very cheap price. If you are looking to build a team, even if it's just for the rest of the season, and sell them and move into some of the the leagues that are covered over the summer, such as America and things like that. His market price for his rare it was 0.4 and the average is 0.319. So again, a big disparity there. However, the Turkish league returns next weekend, so you might start to find these prices creeping up, particularly on players like this. So last 5 of 43, a little bit low. Last 15, 49. He has conceded quite a high number of goals. He's only played 13 games out of 13, so he's 100%. 3 clean sheets, but in the 10 games that he has conceded goals, he's conceded 27, and they've been involved in some quite high scoring games. Have Fatih Karagümrük, probably butchered it, but hey ho, that's what I'm calling it. So yeah, it's a very, very cheap card. But if you are looking to build a team, and you're trying to do it sub 30, 40 quid, certainly sub 40, you could get that, have 20 quid to go and get your 4 outfield players, and it's more than doable to do that. There are some bargains out there which I'm going to try and get to, especially for the limiteds. But yeah, it's a very solid price there. Now back into Scotland, Liam Kelly, a goalkeeper that I've harped on and I've owned. And I think Russ from Scotland Sorare on the podcast, we've talked about him extensively. He's been one of the safest goalkeepers in Scotland. He's kind of the number 2 in the pecking order in the Scottish national team as well, behind Craig Gordon. Now, his average price on the market, again, 0.036. Market price 0.035. That was due to, obviously, people were trying to buy the Scottish cards because they were, the only league playing in Challenger Europe. Motherwell's game being postponed, his price came down significantly in the limiteds. His rare price is quite high, 0.65, and market 0.65 as well, so there's 0.01 of a difference between them. His scores haven't been terribly high, but they did have a fairly torrid run of fixtures, last 5 of 38 and the last 15 of 41. Now, he is their captain. 16 games, 5 clean sheets and 22 conceded. So, you are getting a fairly safe pair of hands there. Now, I'm going to start to look at a couple of keepers that are a slightly longer term view now. The Croatian League returns, I believe it's the 21st of January, so it is before the threshold changes, come into effect, but also before they actually, come into effect for the limited cards altogether. But 0.018 is his average price on the market for sales, and his market price 0.019. So you're looking at about 17 quid for his card at the moment, which is really good value. You could probably then build the rest of your team, as I say, well under 40 quid for a full team that you could put out, and potentially looking to get a 10% return on that each week, which I don't think is a bad thing. Last 5 of 45, last 15 of 44. Even his rare price, 0.275 has been the average. The market price, 0.461. Probably, I'd probably say maybe 0.4 would have been a fair price, but again, it could be a number of factors. But 16 out of 16 games, he's played every single game, 1 clean sheet, 24 goals conceded. But it's a very tempting card. If you're looking, again, talking about the rares, for example, if you can get your goalkeeper getting you those 45 points and your outfield players, it gives you a little bit to play with, when you are building that cap. So, a favourite of mine, I have owned him 3 separate occasions, and I'll probably end up owning him for a 4th. Samuel Sahin Radlinger of SV Ried. Now, the Austrian League returns on, I believe it's the 12th of February. So it's going to be 2 weeks after the threshold comes into effect. But if you can get ahead of the game now, potentially get the players in that you want, you've got it built before the prices rise, before these leagues come back. So average price or average sale price 0.024 in limited, and market price 0.025. So it's fairly in sync there. Market on the rare 0.409, which I think is quite cheap. Average price 0.424. So yeah, again, a wee bit disparity there, but in the opposite direction. So, but he has played all 16 games this season, 3 clean sheets, 24 goals conceded in all. Last 5 of 60. and a last 15 of 49. Now, as I say, I have owned him on several occasions. I sold him before the winter break because I didn't want to sit for 3 months without a goalkeeper. But, with that, being on the horizon about them coming back, I may well look to pick him back up again. Staying in Austria, we have Ferdinand Oswald, who's the goalkeeper for Tyrrell. He's also the captain, 16 out of 16 games, 3 clean sheets, 26 conceded. Last 5 of 51, last 15 of 46. Now, you are on the market 0.023. So again, you're talking, what, £21, £22 maximum. And you're getting a captain. It's always the same. You feel more comfortable if you've got the captain sitting playing for your team. Average price for the rares 0.405 on the is the recent sales, and the market price 0.5. It's a big disparity again. 0.1 is 20%, well, 25%, almost higher. So yeah, I would certainly be looking at the auctions or keeping an eye on people being a bit more realistic with the prices. And finally, I've gone with one who classes as under 23 at the moment, which is Philip Menzel of Austria Klagenfurt. 0.024 has been his average sale price, and market price 0.027, and that's for an under 23 goalkeeper, which again I think is a really, really good price. His average has been 0.46 for his rare and 0.45 for the market price on him. Last 5 of 41, last 15 of 39. Lower scores, I've included him because he is an under 23, and if you're thinking about building an under 23 team, it's it's a very cheap starting point for a goalkeeper, to be able to include in there. He does only qualify up until the summer. After the summer, he'll lose his under 23, which might reflect as to why the price is a little bit lower, but you're still going to get the rest of the season out of him on there. He has played 15 out of 16 games. The one game he missed was due to a migraine pre-match, because I had him in my team, and if I'd played, I would have won a card. But nonetheless, 2 clean sheets, 27 conceded. But Klagenfurt have been pretty decent again this season, so one worth having a look at there. So, a dozen goalkeepers. The one thing I will say just before I close off, where possible, it's something that Russ Scotland Sorare preached to me when I first started, was to try and get the backup where you can afford to do so. Now, some people see that as dead money. It's basically you're buying it as an insurance policy effectively. Now, you may have contents insurance on your house and never make a claim on it in 20 years. Effectively, that's been dead money. If you just saved that in a bank account, anything that did come up, you could pay for it. But you've done the smart thing. You've had your house insured and covered. There's no difference with this to me, is to spend the extra £5-10 to pick up the backup where possible, and then you've got the safety net. If your main keeper gets injured or gets replaced by the backup, you've got it sitting there. However, I understand that doesn't fit with all budgets, but just be aware that with goalkeepers, they can get dropped, they can get injured, and they are a costly item. So it's something I think personally, I like the idea of having that backup there, just for those reasons. However, it's purely up to you. As with every video, these are purely suggestions for you to go and look at and do your own research. At the end of the day, it's your money you're spending on these, which means if you want to go and buy the backup, do so. If you don't, ride your luck, see what happens. You may never need to use them, but he's always there just in case. It's like, as I say, like with house insurance or that sort of thing. So thank you to everybody that subscribed to the channel. If you've not already done so, click below. It'll certainly help me build the channel. If you have any ideas for upcoming videos, drop me a DM on Twitter. You can find me at Sorare on the Budget. And again, as I say, if you're new to Sorare, link is in the description below, sorareonthebudget.com. I told you at the start, if you're still listening, you know what the script. It's in the description below, and you'll be able to sign up from there. All right, guys, take care. I will speak to you all again soon. And yeah, with another video later this week. Take care, guys.